newspaper. Banks involved in 70% of financial crimes. EFCC. Dangote names refinery road after Wigwe. Hardship. AFDB, that's the African Development Bank, plans $2.7 billion budget agri loans for Nigeria. Now the question is, how much involvement, and how we've had some of these programs come, and then you hear that some states did not participate because they did not meet certain conditions, and so the people in that state could not benefit from those loans. We hope it would not be the case, and all across the country everybody gets a chance to benefit from this, and not just benefit, but the money gets to those who really need to farm. SIM NIN, NCC defends blocking of phone lines. Lawyer slams 10 billion naira suit. You'd have that also on the Punch newspaper. And food crisis. OPS warns of shutdown as hoodlums loot more trucks. OPS warns of shutdown as hoodlums loot more trucks. And you'd also find this. Discos reject 1,769 megawatts of electricity amid widespread blackout. Now, we don't know what that means. You'd have to go to the Punch and find out all of the details and know why they are saying discos reject over 1,000 megawatts of electricity. And Navy destroys illegal oil refining site in Rivers, Bayelsa, Ondo. Now, this is by destroy. What does it mean? The products that are found in the site, are they all returned to the environment? And if that's the case, shouldn't that be a concern as well? We've been canvassing for a better way to dispose or to tackle the problem of illegal refining and manage these sites when they are discovered, so we do not cause any further harm to the environment. Well, find out more details on the Punch newspaper. Approach Zimbabwe for solution to inflation, Obasanjo tells federal government. I mean, Zimbabwe has done fantastic. After Mugabe passed on, we knew what happened in that country and how almost useless, I think it's the Zimbabwean dollar, that's what they use. It became almost useless. It was really tough time, but they seem to be doing great, bouncing back, and the economy waxing stronger. So you would understand why perhaps former President Obasanjo is saying go to Zimbabwe and ask questions and learn what they did to tackle the inflation in their country at the time. All of those are some of the headlines you would find on the Punch newspaper. And one more before we go on the commercial. Naira depreciation worsens Nigeria's foreign debt woes. All of those are on the Punch newspaper. The Vanguard is next, and we have some interesting headlines there as well. Don't forget to join us on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. If you look on the Vanguard newspaper, why SIMs previously linked to NIN were barred, NCC. This is a whole problem. Because a lot of people were talking to me yesterday and saying they had linked before. So what did they do before when they say we should link? And then now, I'm not in the decision-making room, and I cannot say that anybody should begin to lose their mind. And you you just have to still go back and do it again. I think that was what was said. I tried. As I'm talking to you now, I wouldn't even lie. I tried to go do my 9 mobile linking. Okay, yes, I use a 9 mobile line, and the stress of it, the crowd, and I keep telling them, is there no other way you can make this seamless? Perhaps some of the other lines, some of the other telecommunication companies have ways. The popular ones, and all of them are quite popular. They have ways. They have apps. You could just do this online. You might not necessarily need to even go to any of the spots to do this. You can seamlessly do it at the comfort of your home through your phone. And I think that's what all of them should apply for those who perhaps haven't applied it. So we can tackle this once and for all. We'll take a commercial now and touch on some more headlines when we return.
The show continues after this break on Nigeria Info.
the headlines. We continue with headlines from the newspapers here on the newspaper review segment of the Morning Crossfire. And on the Vanguard, that's where we stopped. We have several headlines, very interesting ones that you need to respond to. But before you do that, remember that we are streaming live on Facebook, so you can join in on the conversation at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. It's very interesting to use Facebook if you want to listen to us from anywhere in the world. We also have the Nigeria Info app, but the advantage of Facebook is you can watch and listen at the same time, and importantly, you can drop your comments real time. So you can comment on something you're hearing now, as against waiting. So you can do that, and you can also use the WhatsApp number for those perhaps who are not very tech savvy. On WhatsApp, that's quite easy: 0809-030-6416. That's the WhatsApp number. So just use it, send us a message, and respond to any of the headlines, and we'll read them on the show. You can also join us on X, Nigeria Info PH. Very simple. We're streaming on X as well. So go there and be a part of the conversation. Don't forget to follow. Okay, so it makes it a lot easier for you. Back to the headlines. So on the Vanguard, this one here says, why SIMs previously linked to NIN were barred? NCC. Why SIMs previously linked to NIN were barred? NCC. Now, what was said by the NCC was that they were bad because the lines were bad. So I don't know whether it was the NIN that was bad or it was the SIM that was bad, but that was what was said. And I think I was trying to also get in touch with NCC, and similar things were said, that they had issues with those ones that they linked online. They had slight issues, but not much has been said about it. But if you follow the headline on the Vanguard, you would hear more from the spokesman while he was explaining. The idea had been that the earlier ones that were submitted were not good. They had some issues, and that's the reason why you have to go back and do it again. So if you are one of those persons, please go back and do it again. Thank you very much. And it did not affect everybody, some people. So another headline here on the Vanguard newspaper. This one says, federal government to hold zonal public hearings on minimum wage. I think that's one in the right direction. One in the right direction. Edo Guba, INEC opens candidate nomination portal. High cost of government, low outcome by the Kuku Peter side. Well, you want to find out what he was saying? You get on the Vanguard newspaper and read up that post and hear what he thinks. But that's the much we can take on the Vanguard newspaper. All right, one more. Alleged financial crimes. Why Reps panel recommended arrest of Binance executives. Why Reps panel recommended arrest of Binance executives. You know, we had two execs from Binance flying to the country sometime last week. And this was after the CBN had said that certain monies were laundered through Binance. And then they had to talk about regulations and the fact that some monetary regulations that are not being followed. And the list goes on and on and on. And so they were invited for questioning and then were detained. As it stands now, the headline is saying, well, you want to know why the Reps panel recommended the arrest of the executives? Well, the Vanguard would give you all of those details. But at the moment, that's where we are. I know fines were also put in place. It seems as though we're not seeing the end of this yet. But people will use Binance. I don't know if the P2P is back up. The last time I tried, it wasn't. I don't know if that has changed now. But I know that they're trying to put up some new regulatory framework. And that's where we are with Binance at the moment. The numbers to call to join in on the conversation, 0817-923-0003. Again, 0817-923-0003. You can also call 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0002. 0002. Call us on either of those numbers and you get access to the studio. Remember to just keep it very brief and precise, very short and straight to the point. Facebook again, Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. I'll be starting with your comments on Facebook for those who already are watching. If you aren't, well, get on Facebook now so you can watch and listen at the same time. Unjoku Giving says food items being looted again. I said it before that more will be looted because people are hungry. Understandably, people are hungry, but then people should also realize that you do not end up going to loot warehouses that belong to individuals. Secondly, looting even the warehouses that belong to government agencies and the rest of them does not solve the problem. Number three, even though the government has given directives that food should be distributed, you also should know that this is a government process and it will take time for it to work. They have to put the mechanism in place. They are setting other, bottlenecks that need to be looked at, protocols that need to be followed before distributions can effectively take place. So looting would not solve. If you loot today, you collect 3 bags of rice, you go finish, you go still hungry. What happens next? All right, where do you go to next? What do you do next? So even if it's understandable that people are, yes, really hungry, and say an hungry man is an angry man, let's also try as much as possible to put ourselves in check so that it doesn't turn into a complete breakdown of law and order. Sobi says federal government to hold public hearings on minimum wage. I think it's a welcome development. Clever Sonny says congratulations to the governor on his peace award, but he should also know that it's the FCT minister. All right, no, it's Clever Sonny. Jeff Atibekwe says congratulations to the governor on his peace award, but I will still remind him that sometimes you don't need to be too peaceful with your enemies. Please, those hoodlums who destroyed Thanksgiving at Eche and those attacking supporters of the governor should be disciplined. Chidi Ibekwe. Christian Williams says, link BVN, link NIN. Still, people are being kidnapped and crime at the increase. Asks why the NIN linkage initiative at this time. Nigerians are being faced with economic hardship. Well, one of the reasons given, if you had listened to some of the bank execs, would be to help, tackle the problem of fraud. And yes, I think that's one major one. And scams, people who've been scammed of their monies from their bank accounts. Some people have had illegal access to their bank accounts and money has been withdrawn. It's going to help tackle that problem, one. But it's also going to help get data. That's also another thing. So it's easier to track where monies go to and people who use these monies for illegal purposes. How well that would work, well, I'm not in a position to tell, but that's what the purpose of this is supposed to be for. Some of the things it's supposed to handle. Raymond Aliko says, good morning. The airstrikes on illegal oil refining sites by the Nigerian Navy is not the best approach because they are damaging the ecosystem. They should evacuate oil with tankers and store them for future purposes. Another message on Facebook from Bishop Justice, it says NCC should not add to the sufferings of Nigerians. Extend the deadline or create an alternative means to ease the process. Odinaka Chiwoike says the looting of food is condemnable and would not help solve the problem in the land. Wanyanwo Biomanobu says, I don't really know why the federal government loves seeing our citizens suffer. After all this linking, hoodlums will still break in and defraud people. So what's the need? Anunobi Oyekachi says, approach Zimbabwe for inflation advice. Are we really looking for solutions to our problems? Andrew, look at the price of cooking gas. Whoa, my brother, that's something else. So we flare gas polluting our environment, yet we don't have it. We export gas. And I think there was supposed to be an order to even stop exportation of the product. And people even complained, why should we even be selling gas in this country amongst ourselves in dollar? I don't know if you've heard that as well. It was also a conversation and a problem that needed to be addressed. How we're doing this and what we're doing. We just hope that the right decisions are made. That's all. Positive God's Power says federal government to share grains. Andrew, please tell this unprepared government to go back to the drawing board. So you don't want the grains? As much as it's not a long-term plan, it's a temporary way to tackle the problem. Even if we're not, many people are not a fan of it. I would even say I'm not a fan of it, but it's also something that would help for many people who are going to need it. The idea would be after you drop the grain, what is going to be the next solution? What are we going to do next? And Blessed Ola says, hoodlums looted trucks that contain food items. This is good. This is a good one, and they should stop calling them looters because something happened before the looting started. More looting could follow. So a businessman that goes to buy his own grains now is in trouble of being looted. I mean, think about it. Okay, let's pause with the messages on Facebook now and go to the phone lines. We'll start with Samuel in Rumo Kalagbo. So Samuel, quickly, straight to the point.
Morning.
Good morning.
Yes, let me go to Obasanjo advising federal government to meet Zimbabwe for solution of a problem of Nigeria that is we are facing now.
Inflation problem.
I think Obasanjo is...
Oh, no, this is not good. Please, Samuel, if you can call us back, would appreciate that. Let's go over to Echie now. Robin, good morning.
Robin, good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Robin.
Yes, looting is not a good thing. It's not a way to go. But it has happened again. You hear me? It's going to happen again. I told you yesterday that the great Bob Marley, living soul, he sang a song that until the philosophy that holds one nation superior and another inferior is utterly destroyed, abandoned, except that everywhere will be war. You see, the docility of our leaders, those who call themselves politicians, who are disturbing the peace of this state and across board, telling us is the turn of the South-South. The turn of South-South, when the South-South become a president, everywhere people will be smiling. Are the people of South are smiling now? We are not smiling. There's cry in the land. Then the governor is being bestowed with award, peace award. There's need for peace. He has been given an award for peace. But when there's no justice, the brother of peace, the peace is the peace of the graveyard. Good morning, I remember the Majari Farmer.
All right, let's go over to Omudioga. John is in Omudioga. Good morning, John.
Yes, Andrew, good morning.
Good morning, no. Go on.
Yes, federal government to have a zonal meeting on the minimum wage. Andrew Femi, I want to ask a question. What is government and what is federal government? We have federal government. Does people in Nigeria, the citizens, have people controlling them? Because I have been asking this question before they will not say federal government has to have a zonal meeting. Look at the increment of the food items in the market. If any, Andrew, people are hungry. They should not mention anything federal government again. They should mention increment of food. They should say people are hungry. They should look for solution, not minimum wage. How much are they going to say, okay, civil servants should earn? Would they pay civil servants 1 million naira or 2 million naira in a month? If any, Andrew, how much is a crate of egg today in the market? If any, Andrew, how much is Indomie today in the market? Children that they want today, they will not have test of Indomie again because super pack of Indomie today is 20,000 naira. They are saying federal government. They should leave us alone, no? They should leave us alone. Good morning.
Good morning, John. JJ from Rumigbo, good morning.
Yeah, Andrew, good morning. Let me join the Rivers PDP to congratulate our governor, my governor, Temnalaye Fubara, as the most peaceful man of the year. According to Jackie Chan, he said the most powerful man knows that it's easier to forgive than to fight, but he opted for fight at the end of the day. So for me, I think a big congratulations to him. Federal government saying they want to distribute grains this week. Andrew, what measures have they put in place? Because what happened in Lagos, where the custom were selling seized rice, you know the rest of the story, right? I hope they will put good safety measures in place so that people will not die. Because I don't know, it has happened before. Even when immigration was doing their own stuff then under Bamoro, you know what happened. So people shouldn't die because they want to share grain. Put safety measures to make sure that people that come to collect this whole thing go home safely and conclusively, Andrew. Disco's rejecting 1,000 megawatts of electricity. Now, who will pay for that one they have given because they don't store it anywhere, right? Because they know that at the end of the day, people will pay for darkness. People who don't have meter will be estimated 200,000, 300,000, and they force it through your throat. So for me, They should upgrade to see how people will pay for whatever they use. As I'm talking to you now, I'm sweating like Christmas gold. It's not making any sense now. At the end of the day, they will bring bill and say, oh, you are owing this. And they come to your station, oh, so people are owing not 10 billion. When you don't give them light, I take a bow.
All right, JJ, thank you very much. I think with regards to the situation with the power, the discos have also complained about vandalism of their equipment to help them do their job better. And the data that came in showed that, the firms failed to distribute certain amounts of electricity, over 1,000 megawatts, between February 1 and 14. And it was from the transmission company. That was where the whole data came, the excess electricity load allocation during the period. Most of them failed to utilize all the energy allocated to them by the TCN. So it's a huge problem, because sometimes you also hear the GENCOs blame the transmission companies to say when they generate much, transmission companies don't have what it takes to transmit. You also hear the DISCO says, vandalization. Now we don't have the required tools to be able to distribute as much as we would want to. And these are problems that need to be tackled. Then the GENCOs will even tell you then, even their generation is affected when people vandalize and we have gas problems and the rest of them. So the whole problem is a puzzle. That's the best way to put it. It's a puzzle. Susie, okay, let's start with, Susie from Erema. Good morning.
Yeah, Andrew, good morning.
All right, go on.
I listened to Sidney Barra, the Secretary of PDP in Rivers State, reading out the congratulatory eulogy on the governor. I actually beg to differ, because what we are talking about here, peaceful disposition of the governor, for me does not reflect the true reality of things on ground. How can the witch cry in the night and the child died in the morning? Even when Sidney was reading out that thing, who are the enemies we are talking about? Politics is one and only with criticism. Or governance is one and only with criticism. And what criticism does to a government is that it mirrors and reflects your weakness and your strength, the true reality of things, so that you can make correction wherever you're making mistakes. So you cannot outrightly, discountenance the essence of criticism, whether by opposition or whether by somebody who is internally a member of the party in trying to correct it. But what we have here is a level of misconception that the moment you correct the government, you are now an enemy. And then you are reading out these things, and then you are calling out somebody who is actually outside from this place. Why do we not have penchant to be calling out the minister of the FCT and calling out some other people like Tony Okocha and all of that? When you call out people will definitely respond and respond to whatever you have said. And then the issue of arming, barring people from looting. The issue here is that some of us are so lazy to the extent that we just want to have this for free. Andrew, when are we going to have people invading government lands and plant cocoyam and plant cassava instead of going to warehouses and all of that? It's very unfortunate. Thank you very much, Susie from Rema Community.
All right, Susie, thank you. Zion from GRA, good morning.
Good morning to you, Andrew.
You're welcome, Zion. Please, you have to be a bit audible.
Congratulations to the governor, and also congratulations to Rivers people on this preferred award. The sharing of grains is so embarrassing. That is one of the primitive news I've heard in the generation and the history of Nigeria like this. You know the problem. For you to solve the problem, you are beating around the bush. Let us tell ourselves the truth. The removal of the subsidy is the genesis of the suffering Nigerians are going through. Now, why don't you mop up this cash, this money you are sharing that have no solution to your problem, and fix it back to the subsidy issue, or you fix a refinery? If you cannot fix, do you know that this refinery thing we are talking about, there are modular refineries standing that are begging for crude to refine? And we are not even looking at that side of the discourse. You want to share grain. Where does this grain come from? A war-torn environment. This gift seems to be a rejected gift. Nigeria would have returned this gift back to other countries that need it, and not we. We don't need this grain. Accepting this grain from Ukraine is like a sacrifice Ukraine is making. In our African culture, we do sacrifice whenever we are looking for peace, whenever we are looking for children, that is what they just did to us. They are bringing us sacrifice, and we are accepting it. So we are not guinea pigs. That is grain, that is our problem. It's so shameful that President Tinubu is overseeing this kind of sacrilege going on into this land. Why don't you give order to multiple refineries to receive their crudes and refine this product? Why don't you give a standing order to bring back the subsidy so that the pains can be ameliorated? Rather, you shamefully is accepting grains. What are we going to do with grains? What is the economical importance of grains here in Nigeria when the people are suffering? How many days will these grains last in their houses?
All right. Thank you very much.
Will you continue to give them grains forever?
Zion, thank you very much for the contribution. But then I would understand your point, and I'm pretty sure there are many other people who shared the same opinion with you. But the thing is, well, it's not. It might sound primitive, but it's not out of place to say, okay, let's distribute this. People will want more. Truthfully, yes, rightly so. But then you can't say that, well, there are people that don't need this. Whether we like it or not, there are people that would need it. And besides, it's not just the grains that was donated by Ukraine. I think it was about 25,000 tons of wheat was the emergency food assistance that was donated to the country, especially in the northeastern part of Nigeria. And for me, it was shocking as well, because you know the situation Ukraine is in now, and Ukraine is still giving food to Nigeria. Not because we do not have a reserve, because, I mean, the president had ordered that grains be distributed from the nation's reserve. So we have that. So I would understand why Zion is saying what he's saying and why he feels the way he feels. But then, Alfred in Emoha, good morning.
Andrew, good morning.
Welcome.
Let me join to congratulate the governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara. And I beg to say that anyone that amidst what had happened in Rivers State that did not see need to congratulate the governor, I think that person doesn't stand for peace. If you look at the way the governor has managed this crisis, you will know that truly that Governor Siminalayi Fubara deserves the Earth Award of Peace, because he has often said that he is the man of peace. And then, Andrew, like somebody just said this morning, that removal of subsidy is the genesis of our problem in Nigeria. That is just the obvious truth, because all that was promised as a result of the removal of subsidy has not been fulfilled. And you know one thing, this money, the government saved it for themselves. They share it among themselves. They share it in fact. Now, who controls this thing? The president, the governor, and it trickles down to local government. It doesn't go to the poorest of the poor. Therefore, even if they increase price of things to 10,000 at the cost of the removal of subsidy, they will survive, because that subsidy will be shared among themselves. So it will be a problem to the poorest of the poor. For me, they should bring back subsidy. Let's buy things the way it is. Let Nigeria continue to owe, since they know that if they remove it, they will not do those things that they promised they will do with it.
All right, Alfred, thank you very much. Good news from our three. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
You're welcome.
Yes, let me start from the Fubara communications by Darlington Oji and PDP. And the PDP secretary talked about, to the extent that which Fubara is supposed to show that people working under him is sure sin. And it's the truth now. Are we not hearing anything from Nigeria? We are commissioners working under Fubara, talks to him anyhow, on air, insulting their government was, saying they're supporting wicked. And the governor never fired them. He kept quiet and allowed them to still come to cabinet and still give them what belongs to them. Who governor will try that? Will former Governor Wike try it? Will Amechi even try it? Will even Peter Obi dare it? How many governors in Nigeria that will dare it? that the commissioner working under you, anyhow you came from. After all, the governor or the president does not know every minister. People brings them and introduces them to them, and they appoint them. And such one will open his mouth to insult the boss. And yes, the boss has kept quiet. I think he deserves that peace award. Then the issue of motorists protest on that road concerning the ring road. I think the way I used to know Julius Berger those days, when they want to do a particular major road that affects the city, there are journey roads that they will first of all go and touch. They will work on them, make it notorable. Where there is lack of drainage, they make water to move so that those vehicles will move aside to affect what they are doing. But today in Nigeria, Julius Berger work. They are working in Rumosi, Uswaba. But the adjoining roads are seriously and terribly bad. And they don't dare to even fix it. And where there are too much, the roads are too narrow. They try to even send their license to go and clear those places for road. And people are suffering and crying.
Good news.
Joining with the hardship. I think it is bad. My name is Good News.
Thank you. Good news. Let's look at your messages on WhatsApp now. This one says, if you hear me, I can 90% assure you that those grains and agric loans would end up in the destination of people who it's not meant for. My former landlord in Rumukrushe must be excited about this news. 2 bags is guaranteed based on who he be for the community. Frank, what didn't bring your former landlord come this matter? Frank from Rumudara. This one from Kaji says, something led to something, my brother. Expect more looting. Kaji from Rumola. Let's take it easy on that. So you do not go and then people take advantage of this and begin to, loot businesses of private individuals and all of that. So we really need to watch it. If somebody comes to your house now and loots your food because they say they are hungry, how would you feel? Minister of Agriculture said grains will be distributed to help stop hunger in the country. I hope this problem is not designed for Northerners only. This program isn't designed for Northerners. Patrick Amadi from Afara Eche, you sent in that one. In 2024, food is still one of our major problems. Now, wow, 2024, food a problem. Well, what can I say? All right, short commercial. We'll come back and take some more messages on WhatsApp and on X. Stay with us.